Right now, only one aircraft, the B-2 Spirit stealth bomber, operates in any nation's arsenal. Not China. Their H-20 hasn't completed a single confirmed test flight. Not Russia. Their PAK-DA doesn't even have a flying prototype. The United States stands alone, and instead of winding down its only stealth bomber, the Air Force just committed $1.35 billion to make the 35-year-old B-2 Spirit more lethal than it's ever been. New weapons, new software architecture, new electronic warfare capabilities that didn't exist 5 years ago. The competitors are years, possibly decades behind, and the gap is about to get wider. Welcome to Steel Falcons, where we bring you the most critical stories from the world of military aviation. If you believe America builds the best military technology in the world, type proud in the comments below. The United States has held this stealth monopoly for over 4 decades now. From the 417 Nighthawk's first flights to today's B-2 operations, America has accumulated unmatched stealth aircraft experience. Since Northrop Grumman delivered the first operational B-2 Spirit in 1997, no other country has put a flying, functional stealth bomber into service. Not one. The Air Force currently operates 19 of these aircraft out of Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri. And just a couple of years ago, the plan was straightforward. Retire the B-2 fleet by the early 2030s, hand the mission to the incoming B-21 Raider, and move on. That plan is dead. Budget documents released in April 2026 show the Pentagon has allocated $1.35 billion in new modernization funding for the B-2, spread across fiscal years 2027 through 2031, as reported by Air and Space Forces magazine. The documents do not include a retirement date. That's not an oversight. The Air Force is deliberately keeping this aircraft in its arsenal with no planned end. And that $1.35 billion doesn't exist in a vacuum. It sits on top of the $7 billion Flexible Acquisition Sustainment Team 3 contract that Northrop Grumman won in May 2024 per Breaking Defense. That earlier contract already committed $350 million per aircraft in upgrades over 5 years. Add the new funding, and you're looking at roughly $71 million per bomber in additional investment, according to Sandbox. For perspective, that's more than the cost of a brand new F-16 spent upgrading each individual B-2. So what exactly does that money get you when the bomber already costs north of $2 billion per copy? The heart of the upgrade is something called Spirit Realm 1, or SR-1. Northrop Grumman describes it as the B-2's first fieldable, agile, integrated functional capability. That sounds like corporate jargon until you understand what it actually means. SR-1 is an open mission systems architecture, a modular software backbone that lets the Air Force push new weapons, new sensors, and new communications tools into the B-2 through phased software releases. Before SR-1, integrating a single new weapon system could take years of hardware modification. Now it can happen in months. The Warzone reported that one of the first weapons brought online through this framework was the GBU-72B, a 5,000-pound bunker buster that gives the B-2 a new option against hardened underground targets smaller than the massive 30,000-pound MOPs it already carries. And the GBU-72 is just the start. The SR-1 architecture has enabled integration of the AGM-158B, JASSM-ER, the Joint Air-to-Surface Standoff Missile Extended Range, a stealthy cruise missile with a range exceeding 500 nautical miles. Per reporting by Simple Flying, that range matters. It means the B-2 can strike heavily defended targets from well outside the engagement envelope of most modern surface-to-air missile systems. The bomber doesn't need to overfly the target. It can launch from a distance that keeps a $2 billion aircraft out of harm's way. Recent updates also brought QuickSink munitions into the B-2's loadout, giving it the ability to destroy moving surface ships from high altitude. That's a capability nobody predicted for a strategic nuclear bomber designed in the Cold War. Running alongside SR-1 is the Adaptable Communications Suite 4.0, developed by Sierra Nevada Corporation in partnership with Northrop Grumman. ACS 4.0 completed its first flight on a B-2 in February 2026, as the Aviationist reported. It plugs the bomber directly into the Combined Joint All-Domain Command and Control Framework, the networked battlefield environment where aircraft, ships, ground units, and satellites share targeting data in real time. Before this upgrade, the B-2 was largely a lone wolf. It flew in, it struck, it flew home. With ACS 4.0 and the enhanced Link 16 integration, the bomber can receive targeting coordinates from an EA-18G Growler or an RC-135 rivet joint without ever turning on its own radar. It keeps its emissions profile silent while someone else's sensors do the tracking. Then there's the Defensive Management System Modernization, which Northrop Grumman called the largest major modification to the aircraft ever. DMSM overhauls the B-2's electronic warfare suite with a massive library of hostile radar signatures, improved threat geolocation, and a secondary electronic intelligence capability that turns the bomber into a collector as well as a striker. The B-2 doesn't just avoid enemy air defenses, it maps them. This system works in conjunction with the aircraft's radar-absorbent material coatings to maintain the stealth signature that has kept the B-2 invisible to enemy radars for decades. All of this technology sounds formidable on paper, but the B-2 has already put it to work under fire. In October 2024, B-2S struck 5 underground Houthi weapons storage facilities in Yemen, confirming the bomber's ability to hit deeply buried targets in contested environments. That was the warm-up. In June 2025, the Air Force executed Operation Midnight Hammer. 7 B-2 Spirits launched from Whiteman Air Force Base, flew over 13,000 miles round-trip, and dropped 14 GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrators on Iran's nuclear facilities at Fordow and Natanz. Each MOP weighs 30,000 pounds. No other aircraft in any country's inventory can carry them. The mission lasted more than 36 hours non-stop, with aerial refueling over multiple continents. That operation did something no amount of budget documents or contractor press releases could do. It proved the B-2 is irreplaceable in the current force structure. Underground nuclear facilities buried under mountains of reinforced concrete require a specific combination of stealth penetration, intercontinental range, and heavy ordnance delivery. As of right now, the B-2 Spirit is the only machine on the planet that checks all 3 boxes simultaneously. By March 2026, B-2S were back over Iran as part of Operation Epic Fury, this time delivering GBU-31 JDAMs against hardened missile sites alongside B-1B Lancers and B-52 Stratofortresses. The Spirit was operating in the most heavily defended airspace the United States has engaged since the opening nights of Iraq in 2003, and every report confirms the aircraft's upgraded systems performed as designed. Even the maintenance story has changed. When the Spirit of Georgia was damaged in a 2022 mishap, initial repair estimates exceeded $100 million. The 509th Maintenance Squadron at Whiteman developed innovative composite repair techniques using laser scanners and resin application methods that brought the final bill down to $23.07 million, according to Simple Flying. That's a 75% cost reduction on what could have been a write-off. Those same techniques now apply across the entire fleet, cutting downtime and making it cheaper to keep 19 stealth bombers ready for combat. If you're watching this far, subscribing keeps these breakdowns coming. So the B-2 is upgraded. It's proven in combat. Its maintenance is getting smarter. The natural question is, what about the other side? What about the countries trying to catch up? China's answer is the Xi'an H-20. On paper, it's a flying-wing subsonic stealth bomber with an estimated range of 8,500 kilometers, per the RAND Corporation's assessment. It would give China its first true intercontinental strategic bomber and complete the air leg of a full nuclear triad. In 2024, the vice commander of the People's Liberation Army Air Force said the H-20 would be revealed very soon. Some unconfirmed satellite imagery surfaced from a PLAF base near Xinjiang in early 2025. Here's the problem. As of May 2026, there are 0 confirmed test flights, 0 operational deployments. The National Security Journal reported the program appears frozen in a development loop, with persistent challenges around engine performance. Chinese turbofan engines run hotter and less efficiently than their Western equivalents. That's not a minor inconvenience for a stealth platform. Excessive heat creates a larger infrared signature, which makes the aircraft visible to exactly the kind of sensors stealth is supposed to defeat. Analysts now suggest the H-20 may not reach full operational capability until the 2030s, per Pentagon assessments from late 2024. And there's a harder truth embedded in those delays. The United States has over 40 years of institutional experience designing, building, flying, maintaining, and repairing stealth bombers under combat conditions. China has 0 years. That gap isn't just technological. It's operational knowledge that takes decades to accumulate, and you can't shortcut it with satellite photos of a prototype. If China's program is struggling, Russia's situation is worse. The PAK-DA is Tupolev's proposed next-generation stealth bomber meant to replace the aging Tu-95 Bear and supplement the refurbished Tu-160M Blackjack. It's expected to be a subsonic flying wing design, broadly similar in concept to the B-2 and B-21. Prototype testing was supposed to begin around 2026, according to 1945's assessment. It hasn't happened. There is no confirmed flying prototype. The engines are not finalized, the stealth coatings remain uncertain, and Russian defense suppliers are operating under a sanctions regime that has cut off access to critical Western components. Leaked procurement documents reviewed by investigative outlets showed Russian contractors using machine tools from Taiwan and Serbia purchased through shell companies to evade those restrictions. Moscow has a bigger problem than sanctions, though. The ongoing ground war in Ukraine is consuming defense production capacity at a staggering rate. Tanks, armored vehicles, artillery shells, and missiles take priority over a next-generation bomber that won't fly for years. Every ruble spent on T-90 production is a ruble not spent on PAK-DA development. Full deployment, if it happens at all, likely won't come until well past 2030. That makes the PAK-DA less of a program and more of a concept presentation. So both rivals are stalled, and while they struggle to get a single prototype airborne, the United States isn't sitting still. It's doing something no one expected, growing the stealth bomber fleet rather than shrinking it. The B-21 Raider, emerging from the Long-Range Strike Bomber program and also built by Northrop Grumman, is expected to reach initial operational capability at Ellsworth Air Force Base in South Dakota as early as 2027, per Simple Flying. Flight testing continues at Edwards Air Force Base in California, where the program has demonstrated the smaller aircraft's advanced capabilities. Early in 2026, the Air Force and Northrop signed a $4.05 billion deal to expand B-21 production capacity by 25%. The original program of record called for 100 Raiders. U.S. Strategic Command is now pushing that number to 145, a 45% increase that the STRATCOM commander publicly confirmed. Think about what that means. The Air Force had 19 stealth bombers for nearly 3 decades. Within the next 10 years, it could field upwards of 145 new ones, while keeping the original 19 B-2s operational alongside them. The B-2's massive 172-foot wingspan and proven combat record complement the B-21's smaller, more numerous profile. Whiteman Air Force Base, home of the B-2 since the 1990s, is already named as a future B-21 base. The infrastructure, the maintenance crews, the security clearances, the climate-controlled hangars, it all transfers. The B-2 doesn't retire to make room for the B-21. It stays on the ramp next to it. And that's where the real strategic picture comes into focus. When your 2 nearest competitors can't produce a single operational stealth bomber between them, and you're about to go from 19 to potentially 164 across 2 platforms, the word dominance doesn't capture the scale. This is structural advantage built on 4 decades of manufacturing, operational experience, and combat validation that no amount of espionage or reverse engineering can replicate overnight. China can photograph a flying wing. Russia can draft a specification. Neither has taken a stealth bomber through 36 hours of non-stop combat operations over hostile territory and brought it home. The B-2 Spirit was built to end the Cold War. 35 years later, it's being rebuilt to win the next one. And with $1.35 billion in fresh investment, 0 retirement date, and a successor fleet that's about to multiply beside it, the world's only stealth bomber isn't going anywhere.